Happy New Year！
新年快乐！
新年快乐！
全球精彩的独家专访，
人力哲，
学什么要这么会聊天？
因为这样才有那个推出一个电影的感觉。
超趣味的另类点评。好美啊！
现在最夯的流行玩意，
光是外形都觉得超帅的。
全球精彩独家报道，
请锁定
星光好选择，
星光好选择，
记得锁定收看哦。
Hi everyone, I'm Maggie Q. It's nice to see you everyone from 星光好选择.
Your life is about to change forever. I hope you're ready. How the island does what it does is a mystery. They brought her back to life.
My name is Greg Trippy. I'm Russ Howard. Also wrote the music for Tragedy Girls.
Hi there, I'm Michael Abels, and I'm best known for the scores to Jordan Peele's Us.
No.
欢迎收看这个礼拜的星光好选择，我是主持人丽哲。什么样的电影公司被誉为是恐怖界的皮克斯呢？如果你和丽哲一样是喜欢挑战胆量、重口味的恐怖迷的话，你一定会知道，在恐怖界拥有崇高地位的王者布伦屋 （Blumhouse）。恐怖界的皮克斯是他们的称号哦，像是《逃出绝命镇》、《我们》等等的经典恐怖大作，都是出自布伦屋之手。电影里面不见得有鬼魅或者是血腥虐杀，但充满创意的心理战、吓人的新套路，绝对让观众全程头皮发麻、冷汗直流哦。即将在214情人节档期上演的新作品《逃出梦幻岛》，就是出自于他们的神之手。《逃出梦幻岛》是改编自70年代的美国经典影集同名《梦幻岛》 （Fantasy Island）， 包含黑暗元素还有超自然元素，讲述陆可先生拥有神秘的度假小岛梦幻岛。听起来很美妙，人类各式各样的古怪梦想都可以在这座梦幻岛上面获得实现。但天底下是没有白吃的午餐的，当美梦成真之后，往往要付出令人意想不到的代价哦。看看这5位主角的美梦变噩梦，绝对让观众从头到尾紧绷神经，而结局更是出乎意料。到底有没有人能够成功逃出梦幻岛呢？主角之一也是我们熟悉的亚裔女星 Maggie Q， 曾经跟阿汤哥携手演出《不可能任务3》的 Maggie Q， 其实这几年都在美国发展，参与不少影集的演出。不过已经好久没有在大荧幕出现的 Maggie Q， 为什么会选择逃出梦幻岛成为她重返大荧幕的最新力作呢？目前人在伦敦拍戏的 Maggie Q， 在百忙中还抽空特别用视讯来上我们星光好选择的节目哦。看看我们今天的岳阳独家专访。
大家好，朋友好，我是 Maggie Q。
Maggie， 你好漂亮哦 ，You're so beautiful。
哦，谢谢。
Good, do you still pick up the Chinese? Do you still remember how to speak in Chinese?
You know, I do. I have a lot of different business things happening in China, so I'm traveling to China more now, and so I'm having to brush up on Mandarin, which is good for Taiwan. When I come back to Taiwan, my Mandarin will be better.
Yeah, come back to us. We miss you. It's been a while.
Taiwan, I can't even remember the last time I was there, so it's been a long time.
Oh, we miss you. Definitely come back after, whatever is going on. I mean, the virus. Is the audio okay?
Can you hear me better now?
I can hear you, but it's just like breaking up a little bit. It feels like I'm talking to you on a Skype phone.
Yeah, we kind of are.
Yeah, we are. Literally my first Skype interview.
This is my first Skype too, so we're in the same boat.
Oh yay! High five!
I know. I'm actually, they wanted me to come to Asia, which I was happy to do. But the problem is, I'm on a film right now, so I can't leave. So London was the happy middle place where I could do this.
Yeah, and we're happy to to see more of your project if you are working on something new.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is a totally different genre that you ever try, right?
That's right. Yes, this is not my standard fare.
I'm always curious because you are very friendly in person. You have a big smile, beautiful smile, and you're such a sunshine girl. But in the movie, you're always the opposite. You're either killer or
It's so
be a very serious face, poker face.
What's very funny is that whenever we're on set, we do these intense either action or drama or whatnot, and then we cut, and then the crew and I are always laughing and having a great time, and then when we're rolling it completely changes. And my crew always says that to me too. They said it's so funny because when we spend time together, when the camera's not rolling, it's very different, and then when the camera starts rolling again, it's very different. So I do get that all the time.
Yeah, but how do you make yourself in a different position, in a different mindset for different roles?
I think it might be just the saving grace actually, because I think that if I was a very dark person, and that's also what my work was, I would never get a break from that. It's nice to be able to have my personal life and who I am and how I live in real life, and be able to experience these roles and be in them. And then to be able to be out of them is a relief, and so it's nice to have both. And I think it's imperative for my survival.
Since it's the first thriller movie that you ever did, and also you grow up in the island.
That's exactly right.
So do you actually feel comfortable
or uncomfortable making this film?
So comfortable. I have to tell you, because Fiji, where we shot it, is really Hawaii, just with Fijians instead of Hawaiians. But again, it's like native culture, island people. So, when I got there, it was interesting because the local people knew I was from Hawaii. So the way that they embraced me was so familiar. They were so loving with me, and very, for them it was the heart and the island vibe was very familiar to them. And so I really felt at home. I felt right at home with the people there. And so making the film felt very familiar to me, and as if I was back home in Hawaii.
Is it why you're the most special one in the film? Because I noticed that you are the only one who's not covered in blood.
Yeah, I know. Well, it was kind of a nice break for me, because normally I'm in these, sweaty, bloody, things like that. And, for this one, it was a little bit of a break. It was really a straight drama for me. A lot of my dialogue scenes were with my co-star Michael Pena, and we got to work a lot on character development and how we were going to approach things together. So a lot of the work went into script revisions, a lot of rehearsals we did, about 9-10 days of rehearsals before the movie ever started. And the director was very adamant that each actor rehearse the scenes we were doing together, rehearse as a group, and then rehearse as individuals. So he's what we like to call an over-rehearser, which I really appreciate, because I like the time to be able to spend with my co-stars to understand who they are, what they need, what I may need from them, and be able to find a happy place where everyone's comfortable so that the performance is maximized. And we got to do that, and that was really a huge gift, because not every movie do you get that kind of time with your co-stars.
Right, but you have to feel very scared when you're making the film. You have to be in that character. Since the island make you so comfortable and loving, how do you make that mindset for this role?
I suppose that's the job, right? It's interesting because if it's material that resonates with you, for me, I know once it's downloaded and once I have a character in mind and a place in my head that I'm living in part-time, I'm there. I'm experiencing it and this person all the time. So it's not really a far reach for me to be me and then go straight into what it is that I need to project on screen. I'm very lucky. Some people, it takes them a little longer to get into things. For me, if I respond to the material positively, it's quicker for me. My process is quicker than a lot of people. So, but yeah, you're right. I mean, listen, that's why the job is difficult, right? Because a lot of people, listen, it's not special. Like, we're all actors. We are. I mean, it doesn't matter what you do. You're an actor. I'm an actor. You know, everyone in this room is an actor who's with me right now. At some point, you've had to lie about something or pretend you were happy about something or, you know, go to something you didn't want to do or whatever it is. Like, so we're all acting in our life, but it's really just, can you perform when you need to perform? And that's why the job is so difficult.
So let's play a fantasy game. I mean, this is a trivia game. You have to answer it in 3 seconds.
Okay.
For example,
Who or what do you fantasy to save? If you can save anything or anyone.
Yeah. Animals and
I know that's what you're gonna say to me. Yeah, because I notice every good things you do. Now you got it. Let's start it. The first one. Which princess do you ever fantasy to be?
princess? Oh, I think it was Cinderella.
Good. What do you fantasy to make out with?
Fantasy to make out. Who do I want to make out with?
Yeah.
My German Shepherd. My German Shepherd. My German Shepherd. He's very handsome.
oh, good.
How many children you fantasy to have?
You know, for me, I could have 2 or 10. It doesn't matter. I love kids.
Good. That's a good answer. And how many husbands you fantasy to have?
10 kids, I'd probably need a few husbands to help out.
That's good.
What kind of animal you fantasy to be?
Ooh, I like big cats, leopards, tigers, you know, the very exotic, beautiful cats. Those are... Ooh.
What kind of superpower you fantasy to have?
Oh, I like being invisible.
That's my question too.
That was your next question?
What kind of fantasy? If you can be invisible, what do you want to do first?
I would go to all of the animal testing labs, the zoos, all the places where the cruelty is happening, and I would just let them all go.
Oh, this is a very sweet
That's what I would
answer. And this is totally Maggie too.
That's what you have to be invisible for that. So. 星光好选择 Is that how you say it?
Yes. 星光好选择.
Hi everyone, I'm Maggie Q. It's nice to see you everyone from 星光好选择.
Good job.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
The island is twisting our fantasies.
We were brought here to be a part of something else.
Once a fantasy begins, you must see it through.
How is this possible?
不过说到恐怖片，或者像《逃出梦幻岛》这种诡谲悬疑的惊悚片，老实说，这电影的配乐绝对是重要的恐怖元素。大家可以在家做个简单的实验哦。如果你在看惊悚恐怖片时，把这音量关掉，只看字幕的话，我相信任何一部恐怖片或惊悚片，这恐怖感至少都会锐减一半，甚至完全不可怕了。以《逃出梦幻岛》而言，全片的背景配音是用类似远方微弱的爆炸声那种砰砰砰砰固定节奏的配乐，在无形中催眠观众的大脑，让人感觉这好像是听到自己紧张的心跳声，而远方的声音铺陈即将到来但却未知的危险，都是用声音影响情绪，让观众不知不觉跟着紧张、害怕的吓人步数。而这种真实又刺激的音效烘托，绝对是一部恐怖片成功不可或缺的因素。如何连脚步声都能走得让你胆战心惊，每个细节配音都在挑战你内心最深层的恐惧呢？接下来立喆就独家专访到这些惊悚恐怖片的幕后配乐高手，包括我们逃出绝命镇恐怖大妈的配乐音效大师，要来一探这些另类作曲家如何用声音让观众吓得屁滚尿流。今天星光好选择访问到了这一位呢，他除了是个作曲家之外，他还曾经替孙悟空系列电影做主题曲哦。So you did the theme song for
And the first Monkey King 1, Monkey King 2. Not Monkey King 3, it's the first 2 Monkey Kings in that series.
I'm really curious, like, you know, that's a very traditional stories?
Yes, sure.
The Asian story, I mean the Chinese
Yes.
fairy tale.
Right,
So how do
fairy
you make a story for a Chinese fairy tale? I mean, you're not Chinese, obviously,
I'm
and
not?
you.
That's not what my mother told me. No.
That's cute.
I'm not Chinese.
Yeah. So how do you learn the culture and how do you make the music for the Chinese movie like that?
You do a crash course. Listen. I didn't know that much about Chinese music, but I've spent time studying Japanese music. I know Japanese instruments pretty well. I knew Chinese. I listened to a lot of traditional Chinese music and made it Hollywood version of Chinese.
What was the idea of like a Chinese music in a Hollywood style?
Well,
What does that mean?
You can't be pure traditional Chinese. You have to sort of inject a little bit of that Hollywood
Western
thing.
feeling, epic sound.
Yeah, that big
Instrument.
Not just solo pipa, multiple pipas.
So you handpicked all those instruments?
Yes, all the Chinese, and then I mixed them with Japanese instruments.
Japanese instrument, for example, like sansh.
Like koto. Koto's a Japanese string instrument that you pluck.
But it sounds like magic to me. I mean, you can put all these kind of different instruments together for Western and Eastern.
That's right.
For Eastern alone, you can mix with Japanese and Chinese.
That's right. You mix them all together, and you can do that because you have it in your head. You can imagine in your head. If it works in your head, chances are you can figure out a way to work on paper, which means then the people play it fine.
Wow. So what else you did? I mean, in the horror genre?
But the one that recently came out is a film, based on a Stephen King story called Pet Sematary.
But they don't come back the same.
Daddy.
Japanese movie called
Ringo.
Grudge.
It's a very scary movie, and I think the big credit for those, successful for those horror films is because of the music.
They need music. And most of them really need music badly, so we have to really
put out. How did you create those music though?
And I see the film over and over again.
How many times you saw that?
Well, I see the scenes. I see the whole film maybe twice, 3 times. Now I start working on the scenes with the music. I'll see those over and over again. Not the whole movie.
You have to see the scenes.
Each scene that needs music, I will look at that scene over and over again.
How long does it take?
I was on Pet Sematary for a long time. 4 months.
4 months is a long time.
Really long.
That's a common time frame.
8 to 10 weeks.
Thank you so much.
Friends forever.
Friends forever. Yay!
Hello, friends in Taiwan.
Yay!
Thank you.
Hi, Taiwan. How are you? I'm Carl Thiel, and I write music for film and television. And I'm currently working on a new animated series called Seis Manos. The story takes place in Mexico, but it has kung fu elements. There's a Chinese kung fu master that comes in, and he comes and teaches these 3 orphans the martial arts. But it happens in Mexico, and there's also drug cartels. It happens in the 70s, so there's the whole genre element to it. Musically, I'm working with Chinese instrumentalists and Mexican instrumentalists, and I got to record a 26-piece orchestra in Budapest. So musically, it's just wonderful. And the fact that it's in the 70s, there's blaxploitation elements, there's grindhouse elements to it, guzheng, beatzik, pipa, xiao, all the different Chinese instruments.
How do you make sure those instruments goes with the, for example, xiao goes with the trumpet? How do you mix them? I mean, what was the idea behind that?
You study the melodic, the harmonic. You can have the minor or the major, but you can also bend the notes too. For example, the mariachi trumpets playing Chinese melody with Chinese harmonies. So you have a different instrument playing other traditional elements that are not used to being played in that particular genre. So combining the genres, you come up with something that's very unique. Very interesting, and it's been a big part of the fun that I've had putting together this soundtrack.
Wow, let's look forward to it. Thank you so much.
Thank you
It's
so
a
much.
pleasure to
I
talk to
appreciate
you.
it. My
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Thank
And
you.
hi to the fans in Taiwan.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, I've scored numerous TV, movies, and a cable TV series here in LA. One of my recent projects has been The Headhunter. It's a very unique film. It's a horror film set in medieval times.
The music composers here in this room, they're all like horror score musicians.
Some people become more known for doing horror. I think that everyone here has probably also done all kinds of movies. Maybe some of our more recognized work has been in the horror genre.
Right. So being a composer, like, what was the inspiration when you make the music?
I think it's like, what does the movie need? What does the project need? Is it a show, a video game? It depends what it is. What does it look like? Maybe what time period is it set in? But definitely in a romantic comedy, if I'm scoring a romantic comedy and I'm writing the music to it, when they get back together in the end, if I'm not upset and crying, if I'm not feeling it, okay, then it's not there yet. You have a horror, you're scared, you want to be scared, you want people to be scared, you want to be like, oh my god, I'm so scared. And you want to feel that fear as the composer while you're working on it. Because if you're not feeling it, no one else is going to feel it, right?
Right.
So then you know that you're done. When you're, okay, now I'm scared. Or now I remember I was scoring this horror film for the Sci-Fi Channel, The Crooked Man. There's a very scary monster going around ripping people's heads off and stuff. And so there was one point where I was in the middle of the night looking around in my room because I was getting a little scared.
Really
and
scared by your own music?
Yeah, seriously. But I was like a little just creeped out. And I remember no one was home and it was just me. And I was like, just like, oh, I'm scared. And I was like, I'm done then, because now everybody else is going to be scared.
How does the music created from nothing? For example, like you need to do some music score for the horror film, horror genre. How does it start?
If you want to make your own music, you can take forever, and you never get it finished. But they say you got 3 weeks to do this, so you have to do something.
Right.
So you start. You put a note in, and then you look at the clock. Oh, gee, I better hurry up. Put another note in, and then as it starts to take shape, you then build it. It's like sketching or molding something out of clay. It's just a piece of clay at first. It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
You build that up, and you have to. The more you do it,
little
the more
by
it starts
little,
to take shape. Yeah, but also somebody is there, checking in on you. How are you going? Almost done that first half of the movie now?
Pressure.
The pressure is good. The pressure is really good.
Oh, really?
I've done some of my best work.
What was the weirdest sound that you ever used in your score?
I have used a lot of sounds and then messed with them. I would probably say that one of the weirdest sounds I've ever used was the sound in the film The Headhunter that I recently did. It's the sound of flies buzzing. And I put it through auto-tune.
How did you catch a fly buzzing?
I had a
like you have to fly flies and record it?
That would have been hard. I've recorded a lot of stuff myself, but that I just had this like sound of like nature sounds, like all these nature sounds. And
yeah.
And because the monster is all like disgusting and rotting, and it's like I thought like flies are cool because they symbolize like rot, like the
right.
yucky, horrible things. One of the weirdest sounds I've used anyway. I've used all kinds of.
Yeah. And say hi to the fans in Taiwan. Hello.
Hi, Taiwan.
Hope someday you can visit Taiwan.
There you go. Yeah.
Ni hao, ta
hao.
Yay!
My name is Greg Trippy. I'm the composer for the Blumhouse movie Ma.
Max, I want you to meet someone.
Nice to meet you, Maggie.
We went to high school together.
Why's my son?
You smell just like your daddy.
Spending time at your house.
Hey, guys.
That bitch is crazy.
Man Up Unabomber, Dark Places.
No, it all ends with him.
Where's Deandra? I'll let it go. I have. You gonna keep bullshitting me? Let it go, Libby.
What do we know for sure? He's lying about Deandra. Why?
But everybody's a liar.
Hi there, I'm Michael Abels, and I'm best known for the scores to Jordan Peele's Us. And Get Out.
No.
I'm Russ Howard, and I recently scored the reboot of Critters, Critters Attack, and also wrote the music for Tragedy Girls.
I just want to know what's next for the Tragedy Girls.
Patchwork and The Cleanse.
You need to end this. You have to. For yourself.
I think horror genre must be a little different from the regular. I mean, all kind of music, they have a special feelings for the movies. So what was the inspiration for each film? Because some of them, I mean, most of them, the project that you work on, it's all thriller films. It's not like a ghost film. Is there anything different to make horror films for different kind of content?
I feel with horror films, one of the most important things is creating a unique musical world for the film to live in. I don't know about for you guys, but for me in horror films, it's like I want to make something new that no one's heard yet. So it's like an exciting, weird new world no one's been in before.
Like what we're afraid of is the unknown, essentially. So if you're going to make effective music for horror, you have to give the ear something that makes it uncomfortable, makes it feel like there might be danger, and it always has to do with a sound that you can't really place.
You know, there are so many subgenres of horror movies.
Right.
They give you a lot of opportunities to try different ways to elicit that feeling of fright or fear. 100 years of horror movies that have used everything from, you know, atonal electronic effects to full orchestra to very dramatic scores. And it's a great genre to work in where you have so many different subcategories that you can experiment with.
What was the weird sound that you ever used in your music?
My music?
Yeah, in each of your music, the weirdest sound or weirdest stuff that you created song.
You know, we went camping pretty recently at my friend's cabin, and he had this very old washing machine there that made so much noise, but it was shaking in a very rhythmic, repetitive nature.
For camping?
Well, it was just in the cabin. We had to clean some towels, so I sampled it and recorded it. Who's Mr. Whisper? The machine is a washing machine.
Oh, the washing machine.
It doesn't sound like a washing machine anymore. It sounds like a really bad drummer.
Okay, so we can look for that. And how about you? The weirdest sound that you ever used?
I'm having a hard time coming up with something because I tend not to remember the names of the sound. That sounds kind of stupid. But a lot of times I use human voices. We all respond to the voice because it's us. And the voice can communicate things without words. Just a vocal sound, and you can know what emotion is even if you don't speak the language.
I think one of the most fun times I've had on a score making unique and weird sounds was for The Cleanse, and I did that with two other composers. We grabbed all the garbage we could find out of the trash can in the studio. We had some old Tibetan gongs, we had an out-of-tune auto harp, and then for maybe, we like hit record for about 3 hours, and we had like a jam session where we just all together were banging on things and recording, and we were just letting the recorder play, and really made some weird stuff. It was very cool and fun. It fit well into the theme of the movie The Cleanse. It's about cleaning out all the garbage inside you. So,
well, the garbage worth it.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you. DC 真的硬起来了！继《神力女超人》小丑之后，又有一部以超强个人魅力成功塑造角色的小丑女 Harley Quinn 攻占影迷的心。DC 扩展宇宙的第8部作品，这部《猛禽小队：小丑女大解放》，英文片名《Birds of Prey》，副标超长一串的，在你看电影时可能都来不及看完哦。And the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn， 听起来就霸气十足的副标，而这 fantabulous 这个字是极棒极佳的意思哦，基本上它就是 fantastic 跟 fabulous 的综合体，两个单字都是非常棒的意思，非常棒再加上棒上加棒，还有这个字就是 emancipation。 解放的意思。而在 Harley Quinn 前面强调了一个 one， 也强调出 Harley Quinn 的独一无二。从电影片名就可以让人了解女主角小丑女 Harley Quinn 这个人自我率性的个性，跟电影即将带给观众的感受，是很少数光从片名就能够让观众认识主角的一部电影，这是我觉得很特别的地方哦。而猛禽小队小丑女大解放是马格罗比在主演2016年的自杀突击队中的小丑女之后，主动向华纳影业以及 DC 提出，希望能够拍摄一部以小丑女为主轴的限制级女性帮派电影。有别于其他个人电影，往往只强调某一个主角，马格罗比认为小丑女应该是个喜欢热闹、内心不甘寂寞的女孩，所以她的个人电影应该是一群另类女汉子的故事。马格罗比还亲自担任监制，找来有一半台湾血统的编剧克里斯汀·哈德森，以及提供很多有趣构思的华裔女导演 Cathy Yan 严雨倩来拍摄这部片。严雨倩不仅是执导2部神力女超人 Patty Jenkins 之后的第2位执导 DC 超级英雄片的女导演，她也是首位执导超级英雄片的女性。在一部女性反超级英雄片，同时也是女性帮派限制级电影，再加上女导演跟女编剧，彰显女力的年代，身为女性的我，当然对这部电影大大加分哦。而且电影里面还有一位台湾背景的角色哦，又拉高了我对这部片的好感度。不过立哲也并不是因为这些私心的理由推荐这部电影的，而是我觉得 DC 在编剧跟塑造人物上越来越进步。从以前感觉只想追平漫威，拼命在推出英雄集结的戏码，到现在强调个人风格，走出自己的路线。无论是神力女超人，还是小丑，以及到这一部猛禽小队，都让人除了从第三者角度看到主角的故事线之外，电影还着重了一些细节，但又不啰嗦的铺陈。例如小丑女以自白式又很呛的来介绍自己，虽然讲话有一点颠三倒四的，但实际上却让人感觉很有温度，就好像打破第4道墙，直接跟观众在聊天一样哦。
Ah, shit. I told this all wrong. Quick history lesson. This all started when the Joker and I broke up. It was completely mutual. And soon enough, I was back on my feet, ready to embrace the fierce goddess within. It's all.
直播自媒 Vlog 的兴起，其实都是一样的道理。现代观众喜欢的就是没有界限，你我之间最直接的感受与温度。小丑靠的是演技，让观众有同理心；那么小丑女则是靠率真坦白，不讳言自己的缺点，赢得观众的喜爱。至于里面打斗场面或者是特效，我想观众现在什么都看过了，小丑女大解放里面该有的也都有，所以我就不多做讨论。但我特别要告诉大家的是，电影里面小丑女的宠物海娜土狼，格罗比还跟她玩亲亲，那是非常危险的动作，不可能办得到。所以电影里面的土狼其实是用一只大狼狗身上粘了一堆毛，然后再用电脑修图所呈现出来的。好，再来讲讲猛禽小队里面的组成成员，其实跟漫画是不一样的哦。在这里，我们只讨论电影的角色是怎么决定出来的。当初身兼制作人的马格罗比在 DC 庞大的正史漫画中研究小丑女时，找到了女猎手 Huntress 这个角色，马上被她的故事给吸引，所以他后来找来玛丽伊丽莎白文斯蒂德来饰演这位谜一般的杀手。不过，这位女杀手其实不只有一身绝技哦，她同时也有令人同情的故事跟傻大姐的个性，所以观众一看就很喜欢。而这个团队中唯一具有超能力的黑金丝雀，其实黑金丝雀在漫画里面是一位武术高手，不过在这一集电影里面，他还没有成为超级英雄，所以还是主要以展示拳脚为主。而最后的雀吼功也成为未来 DC 可能继续发展超级英雄宇宙很大的发展空间哦。那么启发马格罗比将小神偷 Cassandra Cain 加入的动机，则是来自漫画小丑女蓝眼的深层里面。 感觉野心勃勃，想要打入亚洲及华人市场的 DC， 这回还特别找来韩国跟菲律宾混血的影坛新人，也就是这位艾拉杰·巴斯科来主演这位小神偷。这部电影也打破旧时代超级英雄电影一定要有爱情线的陈规，让配角能够成为主角，而且非常抢眼。没有爱情，友情其实也很棒。透过小丑女的眼光来看世界，虽然疯狂，却狂中有理，狂的真实，是我喜欢这部片的原因。本届的奥斯卡颁奖典礼已经结束了，不过今天立哲还是要来致敬这位相当另类的奥斯卡得主。他不是这一届的得主，不过最近让人非常心痛他的奏事。其实他不是电影人，却拿到2017年第90届奥斯卡金像奖的最佳动画短片奖，也就是 NBA 球星黑曼巴 Kobe Bryant。前阵子他跟2女儿不幸搭直升机失事，这位征战 NBA 20年的小飞侠，生涯得分排行历史第4位，总共夺得5次的 NBA 总冠军头衔，以及2枚的奥运金牌。黑曼巴的生命中写下不少传奇，甚至连影视圈都有他的金奖记录，那就是 Kobe 亲自监制跟编剧以及配音的作品《Dear Basketball》亲爱的篮球。这部片是由曾经参与《小美人鱼》、《阿拉丁》、《美女与野兽》、《泰山》、《魔法奇缘》等好几部迪士尼经典动画长片的知名动画师 Glenn King 所一手操刀。这部动画短片并不是在诉说 Kobe 练球的辛酸血泪史，而是琢磨在 Kobe 对篮球的热爱与他的运动精神，以及小时候他卷爸爸的长袜来当作球为主轴，带出一路以来篮球对他的启发，以及他对篮球的感谢。在动画里面穿插了很多 Kobe 不同的篮球生涯，以及他刚入 NBA 的8号时期奥运梦之队的辉煌，还有大家现在比较耳熟能详的24号 Kobe。即使身体的状况随着年龄衰退，但是他对于篮球的那颗心却始终如一。这也是他告别篮球生涯，给他最亲爱的篮球的一封告别信。整部动画电影是透过光线的变换以及铅笔素描的方式来表现人物的心境。不过这一部动画短片得奖，当年也有受到不少争议哦。第90届奥斯卡金像奖最佳动画短片，除了《亲爱的篮球》之外，另外2片是来自法国的动画短片《花园派对》以及《爸爸的打包术》，还有改编自《巧克力冒险工厂》的原著作者罗尔·德达尔的诗歌故事集的英国动画短片《反叛的童话》，最后还有维持皮克斯一贯暖心传统的《失物招领》，每一部都在当时是一时之选，所以有很多正反两极的意见互相碰撞哦。很多人都觉得这部《亲爱的篮球》动画其实名过于实，以至于最后得奖时跌破一部分人的眼镜。但尽管各方势力大打口水战，却也不能否定《亲爱的篮球》得奖的事实。这部动画电影除了奥斯卡之外，最后还获得了动画界至高的奖项——安妮奖最佳动画短片的殊荣。《亲爱的篮球》是一部成功而且励志的动画片，在 Kobe 天人永隔之后，更让人无限怀念这部作品跟 Kobe Bryant。
But I can't love you obsessively for much longer. This season is all I have left to give. My heart can take the pounding. My mind can handle the grind. But my body knows it's time to say goodbye. And that's okay. I'm ready to let you go.
这个礼拜的好康，我们要送您怨咒的电影票，只要你在节目播出时按赞、分享、留言，就有机会获得哦。喜欢我们的节目，千万不要忘记订阅我们的 YouTube 频道，你的订阅就是我们最大的动力哦，记得要打开小铃铛哦。好，同时也欢迎大家继续向立哲点播影评，追踪我的 IG， 还能够看到不定时的干铁哲的日常哦。我们下礼拜再见喽，拜拜。
Something terrible happened in this house. Now anyone who enters, we're all bound together.
Hello? Police department?